Today's meeting is going to be about MasterKey for Archicad. Just showing, we're going through the processes of how we can link our specifications to our drawing sets. 1 second. How can draw drawing sets? So we're explaining how MasterKey works. We're going through how looking at your CI tools, making sure they're updated to include the MasterKey unit with the clicking in and setting it up. Okay, so what we'll do is share my screen now. As you can see, this is our Masterspec, and I have one of my specifications open that I have linked in, because now we've got linked in because we actually have the Keynote sitting up here, and if we click into one of our work sections, we actually listed up here as our custom Keynotes. Be listed. Okay, some of the topics we will be covering today. We'll be looking at what's the point of having MasterKey, explain why we should have it. We're also going through talking about linking the specifications and how we can add in the notes to them. Okay, during the meeting, this webinar, if you feel you want to ask any questions, feel free to ask any questions in the question and answer section, send them through. And at the end of this presentation, we'll go through those questions and we'll send out the answers and go through them with you, just to make sure we cover everything for you. Okay, the whole point of MasterKey, the reason why we have MasterKey is actually to link the specification to your working drawings. And the purpose of this is to make sure that the work sections that come within your actual specification come through into your drawing set. So you can actually list that information into your plans, sections, elevations, and details. What this does is it brings the headings. We grab one work section here. If we grab this work section, we see we've got our selections on the end here, and you'll see you have a heading 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4. All these headings, when we click on our custom keynotes here, these are all the headings that will come through into your Keynote palette that will list underneath the actual work section listed in the Keynote palette. So when you actually connect these up, all your work sections will turn up in the work in your Keynote palette, and then under that it will list the subheadings that are listed in your selections from each work section. This will all turn up in your Keynote palette. From here, you can actually select those items and start placing the keynotes within your drawing sets. You can add further notes into these, because we have, if we click onto one of these, we grab a different one here. Click on the keynotes, custom keynotes. You'll see here on this one, I've actually added a number of keynotes in there, and this is done by just simply clicking on the arrow on the end here, and we can just add a new keynote into here, or we can edit ones that we've already added in. Once you've done that, just at the bottom, we have the finish. So if you need to edit, you edit them and you hit the update, and then you hit finish. What this will do, this will update the keynote and the specification here. Quite often it does, it pays us to hit the update as well. So make sure that it updates, and that will go through to the work, to your Archicad to make sure it'll update in there. So if we jump through to our Archicad, I just need to change screens. Give me 1 second. Now if we come through here into Archicad, what we'll do now is we'll actually cover how you actually link them through. Now, the first thing we need to do when you actually start up MasterKey is you need to actually update your CI tools, because what you'll get is a CI tools will actually put the tool in your CI tool selections, but you need to update it. So when you go to your CI tools, you go through and you click for updates. This will give you, when you go in here, it'll bring up the MasterKey the Masterspec MasterKey CI tool that will turn up in that palette there. You just add that into your CI tools, and when you add that in, it will come through under your windows here under palette, and right at the bottom here you'll see Masterspec MasterKey. So that will now turn up in the bottom of your palette. Before you actually do this, you need to actually just update your CI tools with the new palette when you don't have Archicad open. So make sure it's all closed, do the updates, and then you come through, open Archicad again, and then when you go into your palettes, down at the bottom, you'll see Masterspec MasterKey. When you click on this, it's going to ask you to log in and that. So actually, I'll just quickly log out. So when you do this, when you click on it, it'll bring up this here and it'll ask you to log in. So here you just type in your Masterspec login and password. It's what you need to enter in here, because this is now linking your actual specification and your drawings set up. So it makes the link between this and the Masterspec website. Hopefully I've got that right, and I have. So now, once you've done that, you're actually connected them together. So your drawing set is now looking at the actual Masterspec website, not to an actual specification as yet, because we yet to do that next step. So after that, you go through and you go to your CI tools, because on your CI tools, you have your Keynote here, and you have your Keynote Palette, and you have your Keynote Manager. So we click on our Keynote Manager. Under our Keynote Manager here, we have the third button down, which is the link. Now, when we click on the link, this is asking us to link through to a Masterspec project. This is where you actually go in and you're looking at a portal on our website at all your specifications that's set up in your Masterspec account for your organization. So when we click on this, it now brings up all the specifications you would have in your organization. In my case, I'm going to be using my top one here. You can search, like in this case, this is my SN. So, and it brings up on ones, and I'm going to be using my test project one. So I click on that and go OK. Because I already have linked these before, it's going to give me new specification or replace existing. So I'm just going to go new and just go OK to that. What this is doing now is this is showing that this is all the imported information, and this is my Keynote. This is my project information, and this is showing that these are the updates. So we just go OK to this, and now all this information will come through in our Keynote Palette. If we just slide this up for a second, go OK here to finish that transaction, and you'll see this will update. Your Keynote Palette should now show, because you'll have the little world maps up the top here, and this is it's the external link, and this is to our specification that we've linked to, which is the SN test project one. And that you'd come through it look like this. And when you click on the down arrow, you're going to see all your work sections are now listed in here. And under each one, you'll see that it actually has the actual subheadings and the subheadings again of each imported Keynote that you've actually typed in the specification that will come through. You can also add in the keynotes in Archicad as well as in the specification, and you just update them, and it'll just update, and it goes between the two and updates them. So now with adding keynotes into your actual project, you will have your selected keynote item, your keynote tag that will already be in here, and you just drop them on the page. So then on the details, or whether you're doing the elevations or sections, and you pull these the keynote tag onto the sheet. From here, you can then select these. You can actually just copy one if you want. If it's easy way you want to do it, you just copy one, drag it down, and you can change that to something else. This is the way I usually do it. Click on this. It'll bring it up in our Keynote Palette down here, and we can change it to something else. If you want to change it to this keynote here, and you can add that in. Put one in there. You can add one in here, and then we can remove the old one. So we can change a keynote that way. We can also change the content within the keynote that you put on the page by just going into its properties. We can either right click here and go to label selection settings, and this will bring up the parameters for that keynote. You can also go Control T, or if you're on Apple computers, you go Apple T, and that will bring up the same dialog box. And you'll see under the keynote label here, you have several headings that you can actually select. Now, what each one of these are is what it's selected under here. As we can see, the key here is the actual CVI number for that one keynote, and each keynote has its individual number. The actual main work section has its CVI number, and each subheading it drops off to a further number, which breaks them down. So you can keep adding more and more keynotes if you need to in the specification, or you can actually add them in Archicad here as well. So that's what the key is. Under the title here, it brings under the title listed here, and that information comes through. So whenever you add a keynote into the actual Masterspec, or when you do it on Archicad, or in Masterspec, it always brings it in under the title. And when you do a new keynote in Archicad, it will give you a title thing, but it also allows you to add in under the special contents under here if need be. And that means you can actually then turn around and put on the special. So if you're doing your details here and you want a full descriptive notes, you generally start a new keynote that would be under an Archicad to allow you to have the actual special references down here to add the information in, which would be under special reference or description. I'm just going to add them in there. So we can change how this displays by just clicking on the keynote itself. If we want, we can turn the key off because we're in a detail file. We generally will need the CVI number, so we can turn the CVI number off, go OK, and the CVI number will then disappear from that keynote, and it just shows you what the item is. So we can go through and you can change them as you need be to display for what you have the keynote for, whether it's for your elevations, your sections, or your details. Usually for sections, we usually quite often would just have the CVI number. So you just turn the key on and you turn the title off. The second update, so you just have the CVI number, and then in your borders on the side of the drawing sheet, you could then have your keynote schedule that you'd set up for the keynotes for that drawing. So you can see what the actual keynote is referring to. We also can then go along and change it if we're doing our elevations. You'd probably want the shorter note if you're using those. So you turn the keynote off, or you can have the keynote on. Some people would prefer for the sections for the elevations to have the keynote and the title, and you go OK. And since have it here. Then when it comes to like your details, quite often people, what they don't want the CVI number, they just want to see the note in itself, the scripter's note. So you just turn the key off and go OK to that. And so you just have your actual descriptive note. You can actually add in notes directly into the Keynote Palette here from Archicad if you want to do a longer descriptive note on one item. So if you actually go up here and you select on here, select the note, we go add, it will then drop one in underneath. It's dropped it in here, and you can change the content. So you can change the content of that out altogether and get a title. So it could be and you can put it down, and I think go in the special reference here and go And that'll be a separate note that sits within here and allows you to give you a descriptive note. Hopefully, if we change this to our new one up here, get this one out. So this selected timber section. So if we go into the parameter of that note, if I think we grab as a descriptive or special note, special reference, and take the title out and go OK, it will give me the actual note that I typed in under the special reference underside. So if you've got a keynote you're printing, which is a long descriptive note, and you don't want it to just list it in the title here, you want it under the special reference, you've got to add it in under Archicad. Because when you go into the special, if I just click out of here, and I jump back into our specification, when you look at a keynote, all our keynotes that come up here that are coming up in blue, that will only come under the title of the actual keynote in Archicad. So if you want a descriptive note that comes underneath in the special reference lines or descriptive lines, you're going to make that keynote up in Archicad and add that reference in here, because it doesn't allow you and it won't come up if you're doing it in out of the specification directly. If we just jump back into Archicad here. So now that we have our tags sorted and how we can add tags and change the content of how the tag shows, whether you want it for elevations, sections, or details, if you want to add tags into Archicad itself, if you have tags, informational descriptive notes that you want to add that don't reference to one of the work sections, you can add that in at the bottom of the list down here under custom keynotes under the project notes here. And so all these notes that will come in, when you add them in, you can add these in under Masterspec itself, or you can add them in Archicad. And these will actually cross-reference back into the actual specification as well, which if we just quickly jump back, I can show you where they will come through as. In our specification here, we go back to the main cover page of our specification, and we look at Keynote here under the main page. You'll see here we have all our keynotes listed from all our work sections. So down here you have project keynotes. And if you click on this, the project notes that I've added in are here. You can add all your notes you like in here and you can drop them down further. And when you update between the two, these will come across. And when they come across, they'll come under the custom keynotes at the bottom of your Keynote Palette in Archicad. And you can add those as notes, as keynotes into your specification, into the drawings as you go. And so they'll both be referenced in the specification as well as in your drawing set. Any keynotes that you add in that is directly in a keynote with Archicad, sometimes they may not come across because it's a direct one that you've added as a descriptive note. So it will stay under where the actual work section is, but it may not come across in the specification because you've changed the set out of what it is. So in here, we can see all the keynotes that will be coming out of the specification. Under the interiors, these are all the work sections, and under each one of these work sections, you'll see it has its selected headings that will be coming through. So when you look under your Keynote Palette in Archicad, this is exactly how it will be listed in there as well. So you can reference and view them in here as well as in your Keynote Palette. Now, if we jump back into our drawing, into Archicad here. Now, when it comes to the keynote itself, when you've got rules that you need to apply to it, or for how you want to change the actual text set out and look, we do that through under here, under our keynotes, and then we go down to our text case settings here. This is where we can change how you want the text to be viewed. Generally, we keep it in uppercase. The reason why we keep it in uppercase is that the headings that come out of the specification are listed in uppercase. and so that won't change when it comes and is brought through into our Keynote Palette in Archicad. So that's why that will come through as uppercase. So when you click on these, all the subheadings, it's all done in our specification in uppercase, all the headings, it will come through in our Keynote palettes here in the uppercase. If you do really want to change it to lowercase, you can change that text setting, but it just means you have to spend more time retyping existing headings. Sometimes it will come through, that won't change. So it just means retyping a lot of contents. A lot of people are quite happy just sticking with just the uppercase and just working through and making that fit with the drawing sets they have. But we go back to the text case setting. As I said, that there we want to change the text. Now down here we can apply rules. Now the rules are for, like we have in uppercase, you can change things like for timber section sizes, and you put a little cross in the middle, you want in lowercase, millimeters you want lowercase, and center line you want in lowercase, and other things you want to add in, you want it as a lowercase. And these are exception rules. So the way we place exception rules, we just go insert, and you type in the rule that you want in there. We actually, what we'll do, just delete that one out for now, so you can use this. Go insert, and you want that in lowercase, and you can have it set as whole words, the start of a word, the end of a word, before a number, after a number, between numbers, or anywhere. But because this is always thing, we always have it usually between numbers, because this is going to be between two numbers every time, because it's talking about the size of the timber section. And you just go AK to that. And that would actually then be applied, because we go back into a test case settings, it'll be here. And you can click it and you can change it if you want to change the rule in a different way. But that's how you put on the rules that will set up each one of your rules that you can set for your Keynote. So things can be in lowercase, even though all your text is in uppercase. These are exception rules that you can put in place, which can be very handy. You can have a number of rules placed in here. I'm not too sure about the maximum you can have, but you can try along and fill them all if you feel you need to. Okay, other areas we can talk about with Keynote. Is that I think we've pretty much covered most of it. I just looked through my list of what we have left to go over. That actually pretty much covers most of it. So we'll just do a quick run over of actually how we just link the specification into our drawing sets. The first thing you need to do is to make sure your Keynote palette is up to date. So you can make sure all your CI tools are up to date to pick up the Masterspec Keynote. So when you do your update, you'll see that you see MasterKey item will be listed in your CI tools. So you pick that and go update, and you update it. Once it's updated, you go into your windows and you go to palette. And at the bottom of the palette is the Masterspec Keynote, MasterKey, down the bottom there. And you select that. When you select that, it's going to ask you, sorry, I had it selected. It's going to ask you to log in. So once you've logged in, you can then go through to your Keynote and you go to your Keynote Manager. When you're in your Keynote Manager here, you pick the link. So when you link the little thing, you want to link a Masterspec project. So you click on this. This will now open the portal to all your specifications that you have in your office, in your Masterspec account. And you can click whatever the specification is required for the drawing sets that it's referring to. In this case, it would be this one here. And you go OK. And now this is actually making the connection. It's writing all the information. You just go new specification, you go OK, because you're adding new specification to the drawing set. And this tells you all the information that was brought across. So this here, it's actually saying all this information that's listed down here is all coming across into your Keynote Palette, which is your project here. So in here, we just go OK to this. And we then go OK here in your Keynote Manager. This is where it sits through, and it's just make sure everything's up to date and bring it through, and you'll see it'll come through. So that's here you have your specification name listed up here. And when you click on it here, it will list all the work sections. Under each work section, it will then have all the subheadings, and at each one of the subheadings, it'll have any keynotes that you've added in on your specification in your custom keynotes sections you have. And from here, we can just bring the keynotes into our drawing sets and change them as need be and update them as we go through. Well, that pretty much covers everything for MasterKey for Archicad, with linking your specification, your drawings together, how to update, how to bring keynotes from the actual palette into the drawing itself, how we can change how the outcome of the keynote reviews, if you want to see the CBI number, if we just want the short heading or the long descriptive heading, and selected each one of those, how you want the view to set up depending on whether you're in your elevations, sections, or details. On top of that, we showed how you can set your text case settings, and also how you can set the rules for the tags and the information that we have within the tags. We also covered about in the specification where you can view all the keynotes that are in the specification, and any project keynotes that have been brought into the project as well that will come through into your specification, which is, if we just quickly briefly do that, the last thing before we finish this. Under our keynotes here, and this lists everything that we need, that all the keynotes will come out of this specification will be coming into your Keynote palettes in Archicad. Okay, that pretty much sums up everything today that we're going to cover in this presentation. But by all means, if you've got any questions or you want to know any further information about any item with MasterKey for Archicad, feel free to fill out the question in the question and answers, or you can email me direct if you want, which by all means, just send the through to us, email direct or through the Q&A, we can pick them up, and I will go through those questions and answer them for you. Okay, thank you all for tuning up, and I hope that helps you guys. And like I said, feel free to ask any questions or email if you need any further information about MasterKey with Archicad. Always happy to help out and answering your questions. Thank you for tuning up, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, thank you. Bye.